When TJ stepped into the building that afternoon, he wasn't wearing his cleaner's clothes. He wore a fine blue suit. His shoes shone like mirrors. His beard was neat. His smile was calm. People stared. Mouths dropped open. Chioma looked at him, then blinked. "Wait, Malam Musa?" TJ walked to her, and in front of everyone he said, "Yes, I am Malam Musa, and I'm also Tajuddin Ayo." Gasps filled the air. "I wore old clothes because I wanted to find someone who would love me even if I was poor. And I found you, Chioma." Now everyone stared at her. She looked at him for a long time. Then slowly she said, "I don't care about money, but I don't like lies. You should have told me the truth." TJ's smile dropped. His hands began to shake. But then she added, "Still, I believe you did it for a reason. And you were always kind to me. Maybe we can start again. This time with no secrets." The crowd clapped. TJ's eyes filled with tears. But just as things looked sweet, a loud voice from the back shouted, "Don't trust him. He's hiding more secrets." Everyone turned around. Before we dive into today's story, we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like the video and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring more exciting stories and content your way. Now let's get into the story. A long time ago there lived a man named Tajuddin, but people called him TJ. He was just 37 years old and already one of the richest men in the country. He had big companies, tall buildings, and cars that looked like they came from a dream. But TJ had one problem. He was lonely. Many women wanted to be with him, but he could tell they were only after his money. They smiled at his clothes, not his heart. They loved his cars, not his thoughts. One day, after another fake smile from a woman at a party, TJ sighed and said, "I want someone who will love me if I had nothing. Someone who sees the man and not the money." So he made a plan, a strange one. He decided to disguise as a poor man. The next morning, he dressed like a poor janitor. He wore second-hand shirts, rubber sandals, and a hat to hide his face. Then he went to work at one of his own factories, a large office where many young women worked. No one knew he was the real owner. People called him Malam Musa the cleaner. He cleaned the floors, emptied the bins, and greeted everyone with a soft smile. Some ignored him. Some were rude. But one woman caught his eye. Her name was Chioma. She was 28, a quiet, hard-working woman who ran a small food delivery business in the office. She brought jollof rice, moi, and fried plantain in big coolers every day. She was not rich, but she was proud of her work. While others looked past Malam Musa, Chioma always greeted him kindly. "Good morning, Malam," she would say. "Have you eaten?" Sometimes she gave him food without asking for money. Sometimes she just sat beside him to rest after work and talk about life. She never bragged, never complained, and never treated him like he was less. TJ, still pretending to be poor, started to feel something he hadn't felt in years: peace. But soon, a big event was coming, a special award dinner for the building's best workers. And Chioma was going to be there, dressed in her best clothes. TJ had a choice to make: keep hiding or finally show Chioma the truth, and find out if her kindness came from the heart. The day of the award dinner arrived. The big hall was filled with lights, music, and people wearing fine clothes. Everyone from the building came: managers, workers, even the food sellers like Chioma. Chioma wore a blue dress that flowed like water. She tied a gold scarf on her head, and her smile lit up the room. Malam Musa stood far outside the hall, wearing his old clothes and holding his broom. He watched her from behind the glass door. His heart beat fast. "Should I go in and tell her who I really am?" he whispered. "Or will she be angry I lied?" Just then something happened. One of the bosses from the building, Mr. Philip, saw Malam Musa outside and shouted, "You! What are you doing near this party? Go back to your mop and bucket." People laughed. Some looked away. But Chioma saw what happened and stood up. She walked out of the hall and stood between Mr. Philip and Malam Musa. "Sir," she said politely, "he may be a cleaner, but he has more manners than many rich men I've seen. He is always kind. Please don't speak to him like that." Everyone went quiet. Malam Musa looked at her with wide eyes. His heart felt warm and sad at the same time. warm because she defended him, sad because he had lied to her. That night he could not sleep. He decided to place a call to his secretary to inform the GM of the office that he would be visiting the building the next day. By morning, something even more surprising happened. Posters were placed all around the building. Big red letters read, "Tajuddin Ayo, the young billionaire, to visit this building today." People screamed with joy. "Hey, I must wear my best wig. I heard he's single. Oh, maybe he'll give us money." Chioma just smiled and continued packing her rice. "Rich people don't change my day," she said. "If he comes, he comes." The GM had arranged the office, hall to look polished and inviting, for the young billionaire. But when TJ stepped into the building that afternoon, he wasn't wearing his cleaner's clothes. He wore a fine blue suit. His shoes shone like mirrors. His beard was neat. His smile was calm. People stared. Mouths dropped open. Chioma, who had also gone to change into an elegant dress, looked at him, then blinked. "Wait, Malam Musa?" TJ walked to her, and in front of everyone he said, "Yes, I am Malam Musa, and I'm also Tajuddin Ayo." Gasps filled the air. "I wore old clothes because I wanted to find someone who would love me even if I was poor. And I found you, Chioma." Now everyone stared at her. She looked at him for a long time. Then slowly she said, "I don't care about money, but I don't like lies. You should have told me the truth." TJ's smile dropped. His hands began to shake. But then she added, "Still, I believe you did it for a reason. And you were always kind to me. Maybe we can start again. This time with no secrets." The crowd clapped. TJ's eyes filled with tears. But just as things looked sweet, a loud voice from the back shouted, "Don't trust him. He's hiding more secrets." Everyone turned around. A tall woman in a red gown stepped forward. Her makeup was heavy, her eyes fierce, and her lips curved with anger. It was Victoria. TJ froze. His heart sank as recognition hit him like a wave. Victoria, the woman from 5 years ago. The woman he had tried to forget. "I know you remember me, TJ," she said, stepping closer. "But maybe you've forgotten the night at Club Mirage. The night you drank too much, and your friends pushed you into something you didn't want." TJ's face tightened. He looked around. Everyone was listening. Chioma stood still, her gold scarf gleaming under the lights, her eyes searching his. "I didn't come here to embarrass you," Victoria continued. "But I've been trying to reach you for years. You blocked me. You never answered, and I had to raise a son alone. Your son..." The room exploded in whispers. Chioma's hands trembled. "You have a child," she whispered. TJ opened his mouth, but no words came. Victoria turned to the crowd. "His name is Kamsy. He's 5 years old. Looks just like his father. I didn't come here for money. I came for truth." The light suddenly felt too hot. The crowd too close. Chioma turned away. "I need some air," she said, and walked out. TJ followed her, but she stopped him with a raised hand. "TJ, you need to go and take care of your family." The next morning, social media had exploded. Billionaire baby mama trended across every platform. Pictures of TJ and Victoria went viral. So did pictures of little Kamsy, his big eyes, his shy smile, and a caption that read, "Meet the son of the billionaire who forgot." TJ was crushed. Not because of the blogs, but because he hadn't expected to be a father. And if Kamsy was truly his, he couldn't run from it. So he invited Victoria and the boy to his mansion. At first, Kamsy was shy. He played with the hem of his shirt and didn't speak much. But over the next few days, Tajuddin made time for him. He cancelled meetings, cooked breakfast badly, and even let Kamsy teach him a silly dance from his cartoons. He noticed something, though. Victoria was barely around. She came in late, always dressed for a party. She spent money recklessly, bought new clothes, new wigs, new phones. She left the boy with maids and barely called to check on him. One night, TJ stood at the balcony, watching the city lights. "Am I just being used?" he asked himself. "Is this boy really mine, or is this guilt making me blind?" But he looked at Kamsy, sleeping with his teddy bear clutched tight, and sighed. "Even if he's not mine, I care." Weeks passed. Tajuddin and Kamsy grew close. They played football in the backyard, watched superhero movies, and made pancakes every Saturday morning. Then one day, something terrifying happened. They were having lunch at a restaurant when Kamsy started coughing badly. He clutched his stomach, then his chest. His face turned red. "Help!" TJ shouted. He carried the boy in his arms and rushed to the nearest hospital. The doctors acted quickly. Kamsy was having a severe allergic reaction. "He needs blood," the doctor said. "We need a quick match. Can you donate?" "Yes, anything," TJ said without hesitation. They rushed him into the lab, but when the doctor returned, his face was calm and strange. "Sir," he said quietly, "we ran a full panel. You're not a match for the boy. In fact, you're not biologically related to him at all." The room spun. TJ felt like the floor had disappeared. "What did you say?" "I'm sorry. I thought you should know privately." He stared at Kamsy through the glass, the small boy now resting with a drip in his hand. That evening, TJ returned home and waited. Victoria strolled in around 11 p.m., holding a purse that glittered like starlight. "Where have you been?" he asked. "A party. My friend launched a perfume line," she said, yawning. He stood. "Kamsy almost died today." She blinked. "What?" "He had an allergic reaction. I rushed him to the hospital. They needed blood. I offered. But guess what?" His voice cracked. "He's not my son, Victoria." She froze. Then slowly her eyes fell. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "How could you do this?" He shouted. "You dragged me into this, made me believe, made the world believe. You let me pour my soul into that child." "I didn't know at first," she interrupted. "After that night, I was with someone else too. But when the boy was born, everyone said he looked like you. And you were rich. I was alone. I didn't plan to hurt anyone." "But you did," he said. "You didn't just lie. You used me. And worst of all, you used a child." She dropped her purse. "I'll leave," she said. "I'll take him with me." "No." His voice was firm. "Kamsy stays here. He's safer. He's loved. I may not be his father by blood, but I've been more of a parent to him in 1 month than you've been in 5 years. Victoria opened her mouth, but the shame on her face silenced her. She left the next morning. TJ didn't post anything on social media. He didn't grant interviews or release a statement. He just stayed quiet, focused on Kamsy, and slowly his heart began to heal. But there was one more person he had to face. Kioma. She had stopped coming to the building. Her food delivery business was still running, but she sent her cousin instead. TJ visited her flat one Saturday afternoon. She opened the door, surprised. "Hi," he said, holding a plate of jollof rice he had tried to cook himself. She raised a brow. "That rice smells brave." They both laughed. He sat down, looked her in the eye. "I messed up, Kioma. Not just by hiding who I was, but by dragging you into a story I didn't understand myself. I thought I was testing people, but really I was the one being tested." She was silent. "I believed I was alone, but when I met you, you made me feel seen, and I nearly lost that because of shame, pride, and mistakes. I just want one more chance. No masks, no suits, no brooms." Kioma leaned back and sighed. "You loved a child that wasn't yours," she said. "That says something. But you need to forgive yourself first, TJ. You're not perfect, but maybe that's what makes you real." Tears welled in his eyes. "So, what now?" he asked. She smiled gently. "Now we eat your terrible jollof rice and see if I survive it." TJ adopted Kamsy officially 2 months later. Victoria moved away, and though she sometimes called, she never returned. TJ made sure Kamsy grew up with love, truth, and the knowledge that family isn't only made by blood, it's made by choice. Chioma and Tajuddin took things slow. They laughed more, worked side by side, and one day he surprised her not with a ring, but with a food business fully registered in her name. "Let me invest in your dreams," he said. "Not just in romance." She nodded. "And I'll invest in your soul." And so, the billionaire who once hid behind a mop finally found what he had been sweeping toward all along. Not riches, not status, but love, honest, tested, and true. If you love this love story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more beautiful stories from Folktale Central, where legends come alive.